Hello, and welcome to the Ashes of Creation class fantasy discussion for Ashes of Creation. I'm Shivafang. Join me on my journey to explore the 64 class combinations in this upcoming MMO. Although Ashes of Creation is still in development leading up to Alpha 2, I can't wait to delve into the mysteries that exist in each combination. Today, we'll be discussing the Protector, a combination of Cleric and Ranger. The Protector's class fantasy is unique as it combines the healing prowess of a Cleric with the nature magic and range combat capabilities of a Ranger. We'll be exploring the strengths and weaknesses of the Protector, the augments available to enhance their skills, and examples from the class fantasy in gaming, literature, and mythology. So, let's dive in and explore the world of the Protector. The class fantasy of the Protector is that of a Cleric who has taken on the additional training of a Ranger, combining their healing abilities with range combat prowess and nature magic. The Protector is a versatile class that is equally at home in range combat and in supporting their abilities with healing spells. In Final Fantasy IV, Rosa was a powerful white mage who also used her aim skill to take out enemies in combat. Similarly, the White Dragoon in Legend of the Dragoon gave its bearer access to healing spells, and both characters who gained it in that game were skilled with the bow. From Chinese mythology, Hu Yi was a legendary archer who was well known for his ability to heal the sick and wounded. According to myth, Hu Yi was tasked with shooting down the 9 suns that were scorching the earth, and was able to accomplish this feat with his incredible archery skills. As there's no druid archetype in Ashes of Creation, the Protector also fills the fantasy of a nature-based healer. The Cleric provides the healing and divine capabilities, while the Ranger augments them to be nature-based abilities. Thus, the Protector can be seen as Vera's equivalent to the ancient druidic orders Olives and Uvits, who are responsible for being both healers and spiritual guides to their communities. The example of Arwen from Lord of the Rings is a good illustration of how Protectors can be seen in popular media. As the healer of Rivendell, Arwen used a combination of magical healing arts and knowledge of the wilds and healing herbs to support her community. In Ashes of Creation, the Protector fills a similar role, combining healing and nature-based abilities to become a powerful support character. Overall, the class fantasy of the Protector is about combining the healing and support abilities of a Cleric with the augments of a Ranger, allowing the Protector to be versatile in both combat and supporting their allies. The Protector has several core strengths that make them a versatile and valuable class in combat. As a Cleric, the Protector has strong healing capabilities, which can make them an indispensable member of any group. The Ranger augments can provide the Protector with additional utility, such as nature-based attacks and abilities, range attacks, survival, and mobility skills. Traps and other tricks allow the Protector to control the terrain and protect their allies from harm. Overall, the Protector can fill multiple roles in a party, from primary healer to secondary damage dealer and battlefield controller. Their versatility and adaptability make them a valuable addition to any group. The Protector may struggle in solo combat due to lack of direct damage dealing abilities, and may be more vulnerable to crowd control effects. This can be mitigated by having a combat pet when soloing or in a small group. The class may require careful positioning and setup time to use traps and nature-based abilities effectively, and may also have limited mobility or be hindered by the terrain in certain areas. Additionally, the Protector may be more vulnerable to magic-based attacks or enemies who have high magic resistance, as their attacks and abilities are primarily nature-based and divine-based. I came up with the idea in the last video that the primary classes are what a class does, and the augments are how a class does it. For the Protector, the what a class does is provided by the Cleric, and that is healing and some divine retribution, damage, and status effects. When you combine that with the Ranger archetype of a versatile combatant, the how a class does it is embodied in the Ranger's archery, nature magic, traps, magical snares, and wilderness survival. In this section, we're going to delve into each of these concepts and explain how and why they would make good augments for the Ranger, as well as delve into how they support the Protector specifically. The Nature Augment is all about harnessing the power of nature to enhance the Protector's abilities. With this augment, the Protector gains access to nature-based attacks and effects, which can increase the effectiveness of their healing spells and provide additional damage over time effects to their attacks. Some potential skill combinations with the Nature Augment include healing abilities that create rain clouds over an area, providing healing over time effects, nature-based attacks that can restore health to nearby allies, abilities that entangle enemies in thorny vines, reducing their movement speed and dealing damage over time, spells that increase the duration of nature-based effects on enemies, making it easier to apply damage over time effects. Overall, the Nature Augment can greatly enhance the Protector's nature-based abilities, providing them with additional options for both healing and battlefield control. The Marksmanship Augment focuses on ranged attack, and will likely increase the range of the Cleric spells, making it perfect for Protectors who want to provide support from a distance. With this augment, the Protector can increase the effectiveness of their ranged support abilities, such as providing temporary boost to allies' accuracy or speed, or applying direct healing from afar. Additionally, this augment allows the Protector to potentially apply additional effects to their ranged support abilities, such as knockback or stun, which can be useful for controlling the battlefield. Potential skill combinations include ranged support abilities that provide temporary boost to allies' accuracy or speed, and also dealing damage to enemy in a cone in front of the Protector. Direct and powerful heals with greater range, and ranged support abilities that deal divine damage and knock back the enemies. The Survival Augment enhances the Protector's survival skills, allowing them to move faster and avoid negative effects such as poison and disease. This can be especially useful in situations where the Protector needs to quickly navigate the battlefield to heal allies or avoid danger. The Survival Augment also provides defenses and healing benefits to the Protector to help them stay alive and continue supporting their allies. Potential skill combinations include healing spells that provide temporary boost to the Protector's movement speed, allowing them to quickly reach allies in need of healing, and defensive spells that also provide a temporary boost to the Protector's resistances to negative effects while increasing their health regeneration, helping them stay alive when they support their allies. The Traps Augment allows the Protector to create and use traps that can deal damage and apply negative effects to enemies, making it a great tool for controlling the battlefield and protecting allies. This augment also allows the Protector to create traps that heal allies or to provide beneficial effects, making them even more versatile in combat. With the Traps Augment, the Protector can set up a variety of traps, such as from those that deal damage over time, those that snare or stun, those that heal allies in a fixed area. This allows the Protector to control the flow of battlefield and create advantage situations for themselves and their allies. Potential skill combinations include traps that deal divine damage and provide temporary boosts to allies' defenses, and traps that slow enemies down while also regenerating the health of nearby allies. Thus, the Traps Augment can be a powerful tool for the Protectors, allowing them to control the terrain and provide valuable support to their allies. So, is this the class for me? I'll have to tell you straight up that of all the classes that I've done so far, this is the one that personally excites me the most. The other ones that we've talked about are ones that are interesting and ones that were worth talking about, but they weren't ones that I personally would want to play. This one here is probably one that I would play. And especially after doing the script and seeing some of the art that came out of Midjourney when I tried to explore this combination, I have to tell you that if I am going to play a Cleric, it will probably be this one. I'm actually kind of sad that the design characters that came out of Midjourney aren't the official artwork. The way the cloth and chain work together in some of these images are just fantastic. Now, as a druid myself, I've been a bit dismayed by the lack of a druidic archetype in Ashes of Creation. From what we know of the lore, it seems as though the nature-based casters were the first to become corrupted leading up to the Great Calamity. However, it seems as though the Ranger's nature augments can make other classes fill that role. See, in Ashes of Creation, every archetype is a magic user. Each archetype just channels that ability through a different lens, and for the Ranger, that's the power of nature. So, with that in mind, the Bard Ranger could map to the Druidic Bard, the Cleric Ranger could map to the Uvates, and the Mage Ranger could map to the Druid. Thus, the Protector then fills the class fantasy, for me, of the nature-based healer. I'll tell you to you straight, I was a Celt Druid in Dark Age of Camelot for a reason. I dabbled a little bit with the other classes, but I always came back to my Druid. In Guild Wars 2, I never did buy the expansion, but in Heart of the Wild, one of the Ranger's mastery abilities was to be skilled with the staff. The staff using Ranger had all kinds of healing abilities and entangling snares. If you give a Druid with this mastery a staff in one weapon slot and a bow in the other weapon slot, you've basically got this character class. I know I talk about Guild Wars 1 a lot, but it's still the pinnacle of multiclassing for me. I want to tell you about how in Guild Wars 1, there's this one particular day where I was playing the 4 versus 4 arena, and I was playing some kind of a melee class. Probably a Warrior Necromancer. Warrior Necromancer was a build that Aug and I came up with in the alpha test, and was pretty good. And it was good enough to be viable, but not so good as to be broken. Because let's be honest, we broke a lot of things in the alpha test that got fixed before release. So the Eviscerate Necro Warrior used the Axe for Eviscerate, which lowered the maximum health, and then it used some kind of a Plague Touch skill that was instant cast to finish off enemies that were weak so they couldn't run away. Anyway, so I was playing this warrior, and on the other team there's a monk ranger. Now, those who've played Guild Wars 1 know that you have to kill the monks first. The monks are just so powerful that you just can't leave them alone. You cannot win unless you kill the monk first. So of course, the mantra became, see a monk, kill a monk. However, when I first tried to engage this monk ranger in combat, I walked right into one of their traps and became crippled. Now, this was the coastal map with a lot of the cave areas and some of the narrow paths that led up to a cliffside. Anyone who plays Guild Wars 1 will probably know the map that I'm talking about. This monk ranger was able to effectively use its terrain and place their traps strategically to prevent anyone from engaging him in melee. When they did get damaged, their ranger's self-sustaining abilities like swiftness and troll unguent kept them alive longer while they also healed the rest of their team. It was terribly effective, in the sense of being truly terrifying, and it's a build not played very often. I was very, very pleased on the next round when that player was put on my team. This is the perfect example of how effective and unexpected a non-meta build can be. And to be clear, when I use the word meta, I use it in the sense of metagame, rather than the acronym for most effective tactics. In a well-balanced game with a lot of options, the metagame should always shift and evolve based on what other players in the community are doing, both cooperatively and competitively. This allows for unique builds to throw a wrench into the standard tactics. The playstyle that this player was exhibiting didn't really see very much popularity until Guild Wars Factions, when the Monk Assassin filled that same role, as the Assassin provided a lot of evasion-type tactics that keep the Monk alive. Although we will talk about that more when I cover the Shadow Disciple. Another example of how this combination worked well in Guild Wars 1 was that of a healer with a bow, who used the ranger's pet when soloing. Being able to heal your pet during combat is a viable strategy, and given that any class can also have a combat pet in Ashes of Creation at the expense of their character's power, this will add another layer of versatility to the Protector's already versatile playstyle. I'm going to be interested in seeing how players will come up with creative builds and playstyles using the Protector in Ashes of Creation. In conclusion, the Protector is a versatile class that combines the healing power of the Cleric with the wilderness augments of the Ranger. With a focus on supporting the party from a distance, the Protector can be a valuable addition to any group. Their augments enhance their healing and combat abilities while allowing for some battlefield control, enabling them to adapt to different situations and playstyles. The Protector's strengths lie in their ability to provide strong healing capabilities, deal damage from distance with ranged attacks, and use nature-based attacks and abilities for additional utility in combat. However, their reliance on ranged combat and healing make them vulnerable in close quarters combat, and they may struggle without backup from melee-focused allies or a combat pet. In addition, their effectiveness can be hindered by crowd control effects, especially if caught off guard or unable to use their healing abilities or set up traps effectively. Despite these weaknesses, the Protector can offer a unique and satisfying class fantasy that can be tailored to fit a variety of playstyles. Whether you're a fan of ranged combat or healing, the Protector can be a valuable asset to your party if utilized effectively. Thank you for joining me in exploring this unique and versatile class fantasy of the Protector. While we eagerly await the release of Ashes of Creation, I'm excited to see how players will create new and unexpected builds with this class. I invite you to share some of your own thoughts and main ideas in the comments below. Let's look forward to the adventures to come in the world of Vera.